The movie begins by showing a young man named Joel Barish waking up from sleep and preparing to go to his office. He is introverted with a good personality and is soft-hearted. Even that morning, when he found his car scratched by another car parked beside him, he left a thank you note on the car's windshield. Upon arrival at the train station, Joel remembered that it was Valentine's Day when people gave each other greeting cards. But that morning on February 14, 2004, Joel got a random thought of going somewhere and skipping his job. Unlike usual, Joel was not the type of impulsive person who always followed their heart. But on that day, he had a strong wish to follow his heart. He contacted his office to say that he could not go to work that day because of food poisoning. He chose to go to one of the beaches in Montauk. The Montauk beach looked very quiet because it was winter when people preferred to drink warm coffee in front of the fireplace rather than play on the beach in icy weather. When Joel was playing with sand, he accidentally saw a blue-haired woman walking alone, looking at the ocean waves. Although he had broken up with his ex-girlfriend, Naomi, Joel did not dare to greet her. He was shy and dared not make eye contact. He left the beach and enjoyed a hot coffee at a nearby cafe. He thought about getting back to Naomi because she was a good girl and a person who really cared about him. When he again met the blue-haired woman he had seen on the beach, he was suddenly attracted to her. Joel was amazed at how he could fall in love with a woman he didn't know at first sight. Joel turned his gaze to his journal while occasionally glancing at the woman, and finally, they stared at each other. At the railway station, Joel again met the blue-haired woman. This time, she greeted him first. When the two were on the train, the woman, Clementine Kruczynski, took the initiative to sit next to Joel and invite him to speak. Incidentally, they were from the same city and were about to go to the same station. Clementine said she had met Joel before, so she asked if he knew her. Joel didn't really remember if they had met before, but he felt familiar with Clementine as if they had met in the past. Clementine realized that Joel was a stiff man and was not used to communicating with strangers, but somehow she was convinced that Joel was a good man. Unlike Joel, who was not open to new people quickly, Clementine was a very sociable woman. She started telling a little bit more about her life. Their short conversation stopped when they arrived at the Rockville Center station. They parted ways to their destinations. When Joel saw Clementine walking home alone, he offered her a ride, remembering that the weather was icy. In Joel's car, Clementine apologized to him for her strange attitude while on the last train. Upon their arrival at Clementine's apartment, she invited Joel to have a drink. Although he was feeling a bit awkward, he accepted her offer. While enjoying a cocktail, they talked about their lives and got to know each other. Seeing Joel's excellent attitude, Clementine began to feel comfortable with him. Even she said that one day she might marry him. Leaning on Joel's shoulders, she told him that she was interested in him and wanted to invite Joel to go on a date next time. Joel, who was not used to interacting with women, felt very awkward. He decided to leave even though she had asked him to stay. Before Joel left, Clementine wrote her phone number in Joel's hand and asked him to call her and wish her a happy Valentine's Day. Upon Joel's arrival at his apartment, he immediately called Clementine to say Happy Valentine's Day. The following night, Clementine invited Joel to a date over the frozen lake downtown, and called it Honeymoon on Ice. She lay on the ice and asked Joel to lie next to her. They looked up at the constellation of stars in the sky. The following morning, Joel took Clementine to her apartment. She asked him to wait to pick up her clothes to stay at his place. While Joel was waiting for Clementine picking up her thing, he was approached by a young man, asking him what he was doing there. But Joel did not understand what he meant and chose to close his car window. The scene switched to the end of January 2004 when Joel was crying in his car because he had just had a fight with Clementine. The following night, Joel took a short walk to get fresh air. He went to bed early after taking the package from his mailbox, where he met his neighbor, Frank, and accidentally saw one of Frank's letters coming from Lacuna Inc. Upon arriving in his room, Joel was anxious when he saw an unknown van in front of his apartment. He suspected someone was stalking him, so he immediately closed the window and turned off the lights. He used his pajama and was unconscious due to a too strong dose of sleeping pills. A moment after he collapsed, two men from the van secretly entered his room with bizarre equipment. A few days later, Joel told his apartment neighbors, Carrie and Rob, about his relationship with Clementine that had just ended. Joel said that the day before, he had tried to mend his relationship with Clementine by buying her a necklace at an antique shop. But when he was about to give the gift, he discovered that Clementine had forgotten him and acted as if she didn't know him. Clementine had been in a relationship with another youth. Joel felt devastated watching her kiss the young man in front of him. Feeling sorry for Joel, Rob told him that Clementine had done memory wipe surgery while showing the card she received from Lacuna Incorporation. The letter stated a request to Rob and Carrie not to discuss the relationship between Joel and Clementine again because Clementine had erased memories of Joel from her mind. Joel immediately went to the company Lacuna Incorporation to meet Dr. Howard to ask about the memory deletion surgery. Upon arrival at the place, Joel met with the receptionist, Mary, who asked him to fill out a form before he went to see the doctor. When he met Dr. Howard, he had to accept that Clementine had performed a snatch procedure. Dr. Howard said Clementine was unhappy with her relationship with Joel, so she wanted to erase Joel's memories from her mind. Joel shared all of that with Rob and Carrie. He couldn't believe Clementine had wholly forgotten him. Feeling disappointed and betrayed, Joel decided to do the same to Clementine. The following day, Joel went to Lacuna to see Dr. Howard to run a memory deletion procedure so he could forget about Clementine. Dr. Howard asked him to gather all his stuff related to Clementine so they could do a memory mapping in Joel's mind. Dr. Howard also told him to share some information about Joel's first encounter with Clementine to learn how far their memories would be erased. Joel later said that he first met Clementine at a Montauk Beach party held by his friend Rob and Carrie a year ago. At that time, Joel had just ended the relationship with his ex-girlfriend Naomi. Meeting Clementine, Joel decided to start a new relationship with her. Once all the items were collected and the memory mapping process was carried out, Lacuna staff came to Joel's place to perform the memory deletion procedure. In the evening, 2 staff members of Lacuna Incorporation, Stan and Patrick, came to Joel's place with all the equipment needed. After Stan drugged Joel and made sure he was fast asleep, he then put a memory erase tool on Joel's head and started a program on his computer. When the memory erase procedure began, Joel dove into his mind and looked back at all the events he had been through with Clementine. Joel saw himself in memory when he was arguing with Clementine because she came home late at night and broke down Joel's car door. He was frustrated and accused Clementine had made love to another man, and a considerable debate between them occurred. Clementine, tired of Joel's attitude, decided to leave Joel's apartment and return to her place. Joel chased Clementine and volunteered to drive her home, but she kept ignoring him. Joel then saw that the world in that place began to collapse and remembered that this event was part of his memory that would be erased. Failing to pursue Clementine, he angrily said that he would remove her from his mind because Clementine had done the same thing to him. While Joel was unconscious, he vaguely heard the conversation between Stan and Patrick. It usually never happened to other patients. Patrick told Stan that Patrick had been in a relationship with a woman Joel had dated and had stolen panties from the woman. Joel then moved to memory, where he was walking around with Clementine at an antique market downtown. Clementine mentioned that she wanted to be able to get married soon and have a child, but Joel doubted that a woman like her could take care of a child. Joel's words created a misunderstanding and offended Clementine, so there was a big fight between them. Meanwhile, at Joel's house, Mary came to help Stan and Patrick complete the memory deletion procedure against Joel. Mary prepared some drinks for them because erasing memory would take hours. While in Joel's mind, he found a memory of his relationship with Clementine that began to feel bland and devoid of passion. At the same time, Joel, who was still unable to hear the conversation in his room, suddenly heard Patrick get a call from a woman whose voice was very similar to Clementine's. When Patrick called his girlfriend Tangerine, Joel realized that the woman Patrick was talking to was Clementine. This is because Joel once remembered that Clementine had dyed her hair orange tangerine and called herself Tangerine. After receiving a call from Clementine, Patrick asked Stan for permission to go to Clementine's house because she desperately needed him. Arriving at Clementine's house, Patrick calmed down Clementine, who was feeling uneasy because she kept feeling déjà vu and strangeness with her surroundings. He realized that Clementine may begin to feel empty after forgetting Joel. Patrick again checked Joel's journal that he had brought to find out the things Clementine likes. As it turned out, Patrick had secretly taken all of Joel's memorabilia in connection with Clementine to become the exact figure as Joel. Patrick even took a necklace Joel had prepared for Clementine and claimed it was a gift from him. Clementine took Patrick to Montauk and went to the frozen Lake of Charles for a view of the stars. But somehow, when Patrick said Joel's words, Clementine felt as if she was missing someone. On the other hand, Joel, who had just seen the various beautiful memories he had had with Clementine, began to realize that he loved her very much and did not want to forget her. He pleaded and shouted in his mind, so the memory erasure procedure was stopped. But the effort failed because Joel was still stuck in his mind and unconscious. What's more, at that time, Stan was dancing with Mary in such a loud radio voice that Stan wouldn't hear any whisper from Joel. In his mind, Joel then tried to take Clementine with him so that the memory of Clementine did not disappear, but it also didn't work. When Joel saw Dr. Howard in his mind, he told Dr. Howard that he had to wake up immediately because Patrick had stolen his identity and his words to steal Clementine from him. At the same time, Clementine decided to leave Patrick and went home. She still felt there was something awkward. In Joel's mind, he told Clementine about his guilt because he had tried to erase Clementine from his mind. After hearing Joel's story, Clementine then proposed that Joel take her to a place that she had never been to, and they hid in that place until morning so that the memory of Clementine could survive. The plan started to work because Joel could take Clementine to his childhood and hide her in those memories. Shortly after, Stan, still making out with Mary, suddenly heard a notification from his computer that the memory erasure process had stopped. On the other hand, Patrick, feeling that he had done nothing wrong, asked Clementine why she was suddenly agitated and crying. Clementine didn't know what to explain to him and chose to end their relationship. Meanwhile, Stan began to realize that his program had gone wrong. He was forced to contact Dr. Howard to help him solve the problem. When Dr. Howard arrived at Joel's house, he immediately started the program on his laptop so the memory erasure procedure could return to normal. After the program was successfully executed, Joel began to be absorbed into the memory he had with Clementine. It made him wake up for a few seconds. Unfortunately, even though Joel woke up from sleep, he couldn't move or say anything to stop the procedure. He couldn't do much when Dr. Howard drugged him. When the memories he had with Clementine began to disappear one by one, Joel tried to keep bringing Clementine with him, hoping that he would not forget her. Joel and Clementine kept running and doing everything they could to keep their memories from erasing from Joel's mind. On the other hand, Stan felt jealous when he heard Mary constantly praising Dr. Howard, so he decided to go out and get some fresh air. After Stan left, Mary approached Dr. Howard and said that she had admired him for a long time. The relationship between Dr. Howard and Mary was very close because, in fact, they'd been secretly in love. But Dr. Howard ended their relationship because he had a family. Shortly after, Howard's wife, Mrs. Hollis, came to follow Howard to Joel's house and saw him making out with Mary from behind the window. Seeing Mrs. Hollis's arrival, Stan, who happened to be there, warned Dr. Howard and Mary by honking the car horn. As a result, Howard realized that his wife had seen it all and immediately ran out to chase her. Howard and Mary tried to explain everything. Hollis was distraught and told Mary that she could have Howard again because Mary had done it. After Hollis left, Dr. Howard finally revealed that Mary had undergone a memory erasure procedure to erase memories of their relationship. Dr. Howard entered Joel's room and left Mary confused and unable to believe she had done it. Meanwhile, in Joel's mind, he expressed his feelings to Clementine and said that he wanted to be with her. Clementine was also happy to hear Joel's sincerity and asked him to do his best so that he could recall her when the memory deletion procedure had been completed. After all their memories were erased, Joel and Clementine got to the memory of when they first met at a beach party in Montauk. At that moment, they realized that the memory would soon be erased, so they decided to enjoy the moment. In the evening, Clementine took Joel to a house on the beach because it was getting colder. Seeing the whole world in that place begin to collapse, Joel left Clementine because there was no memory of them. Before leaving, Clementine tried to hold him and said goodbye and whispered that Joel would go to see her on the beach of Montauk on Valentine's Day. The following morning after the memory erase procedure was completed, Howard and Stan pulled all the equipment out of Joel's head and left. A moment later, Joel woke up from sleep with a strange feeling. This is the scene shown at the movie's beginning, where Joel then prepares to work and finds his car already in scratch. Thinking it was caused by a car parked next to his car, Joel left a message saying thank you to the windshield. On the other hand, Mary quit her Lacuna Incorporation job. Stan helped her to transport her things into the car. Stan confessed that he actually knew about her secret relationship with Dr. Howard. Before she left, Stan just wanted to tell her that he was very fond of her. Mary could only be speechless before him. The scene returns to show the moment Joel takes Clementine to her apartment to pick up things to stay at Joel's place. At that moment, Patrick, who had just broken up with Clementine, approached Joel and asked him what he was doing there. Joel gave the same response as the scene at the beginning of the movie and again closed his car window. Before returning to Joel's car, Clementine had a chance to pick up a package of documents in her mailbox. In that letter, Mary explained to Clementine the memory deletion procedures she had performed at Lacuna Incorporation. Mary deliberately sent the letter to everyone who had done the process at Lacuna Incorporation. Clementine then played the tape with the package of documents, and it turned out that the videotape contained sound recordings of why Clementine wanted to erase Joel from her memory. Feeling offended by Clementine's words on the tape, Joel asked Clementine to get off his car. After returning to her apartment, Clementine finally remembered about the removal procedure. Feeling guilty about Joel, she went to Joel's place to apologize. At Joel's apartment, Clementine saw Joel sitting silently, listening to the sound tape about his reason for removing Clementine from his mind. At that moment, they finally realized that they had been in a relationship for a year and tried to forget about each other when their relationship began to break down. Clementine left Joel's apartment, but Joel immediately hugged her and said he wanted to give her a second chance at their relationship. He tried to maintain their relationship even though he realized they may get bored of each other one day. After everything that happened, they laughed at each other for their decisions. They try to forget each other when they still love each other after everything that had happened. They laughed at each other's decisions. They had been trying to forget each other even though they were still in love. They decided to start their relationship again regardless of what might happen to their relationship in the future. The moral that can be learned from this movie is to believe that true love exists, but it needs to be fought for. Fate may bring us together with the people we love, but our efforts to compromise and understand each other will make love last.